Jake Diliberto, co-founder of Veterans for Rethinking Afghanistan, and Jeffrey Dressler, who's an analyst at the Institute for the Study of War. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. I know you have differing perspectives on these troop withdrawals, how quickly they should happen. So, Jake, let me just hand it to you first. What do you think of these withdrawal numbers and how they'll impact the situation in Afghanistan?
Well, again, thanks for having me on the program tonight. This is a good step going in the right direction, which is fewer troops inside Afghanistan. There's two major reasons why this is a good thing. First, it costs a lot of money, and we're not seeing the kind of gains that's worth the cost that the American people endure as a result of it. One thing the president didn't talk about last night was the 27 suicides that happened last month inside the U.S. military ranks that was directly related to PTSD as a result of 3 and 4 and 5 deployments. This is a huge cost to the ranks and to the American public, which largely has gone unseen. The second major reason why this is a good direction is because the American people and the Afghan people and the Pakistanis are largely not in favor of permanent U.S. troops at the current size that it is. There's a lot of innocent civilians that have been killed. As General McChrystal said before he was fired, we've killed an incredible amount of innocent people, and this is what happens when you go to war. Innocent people die. So what we're seeing right now, by finding diplomatic, political solutions, we're going towards the right direction, which is less violence, more political solutions, bringing all the parties that need to be at the table. And the president said something that was very prescient, very important, which he mentioned Pakistan. This is the big devil in the room that nobody's discussing, and Pakistan is on the verge of collapse. And it's soon to be the largest Muslim-populated nation in the world. It's got about 100 nuclear weapons or more, and further destabilizing Pakistan should scare every American to death. And it's a good thing that we're making the proper steps to no longer destabilize Pakistan.
Jeffrey Dressler, I want to bring you in because you've argued that basically the situation on the ground right now really doesn't allow for a substantial reduction of troops. Secretary Gates has come out and said he supports this decision. What do you think about this timeline?
Well, Secretary Gates also said that he thinks that the withdrawal should be as minimal as possible, and he said that before the president's speech. And frankly, the advice of most military commanders on the ground in Afghanistan is a minimal withdrawal, and this is much more than that. Now, what I can say is that, having seen it for myself not too long ago, there is substantial progress in the South as a result of the surge forces. And the gains that have been made there are undeniable. General Petraeus briefed it to Congress just a few months ago, but he also said that those gains are fragile and reversible. And frankly, the situation today, with those gains being fragile and reversible, are no different than it was a few months ago. We're right in the middle of a fighting season. We're taking pretty significant casualties, as the guest said. But the fact is that any time you're going to surge 33,000 troops into theater, you are going to see an increase in violence because you're going on the offensive against an enemy that is determined and fully entrenched. But now the situation in the South, while there's still much left to be done, has improved significantly. The problem is that Al-Qaeda also has a presence in the East. And while it may not be huge in terms of numbers, the way that they function in Afghanistan is through their partnership with these Afghan insurgent groups. And so it's impossible to keep Al-Qaeda out of Afghanistan without going after the groups upon which they operate. And
Jeffrey,
I think it's going to be very difficult to do that.
Sure.
The numbers that we understand of Al-Qaeda members in Afghanistan right now is believed to be less than 100 Al-Qaeda members, and a lot of them have gone to Pakistan or to Northern Africa or to Yemen, and a lot of people would argue that's where the greater problem is. But clearly we don't want to see another situation that made 9/11 possible. So Jeffrey, let me ask you, how do you define success there, and when you would believe the troops could pull out of Afghanistan?
Well, I think it's understandable to want the troops to come out of Afghanistan, and I certainly understand the desire to get them out sooner rather than later. But the fact is that we've already invested a long time in this war and a lot of money. And I think that we're seeing the sort of progress that we want to see to suggest that the surge was working and that the counterinsurgency strategy was consistent with the gains that we wanted to achieve. Now, as far as Al-Qaeda's presence in Afghanistan, whether it's 100 or 150, that's not really the point. The point is that our presence in Afghanistan is part and parcel what denies them the ability to operate. But unless you go after the groups that they are partnered with, which we may not be able to do if we withdraw a substantial amount of troops, then al-Qaeda is always going to have the ability to operate there. It's a historical place for them. It has significant meaning, and I think it's going to continue to be. And so that really needs to be the concern, and frankly, that's how the president defines success. So if you don't do that, then you don't win. And I think that's the concern with the substantive troop withdrawal.